Hi, I'm Alison Arngrim, and yes, I was evil Nellie Oleson on Little House on the Prairie, and I'm the next guest On Screen and Beyond.
On Screen and Beyond, an inside look into the entertainment world featuring interviews with people from the movie, TV, and music industry, news on upcoming TV and DVD releases, and the rumor mill. And now, here's the host of On Screen and Beyond, Brian Zemrak.
Here we are once again for another edition of On Screen and Beyond. This is episode 726 of the show that keeps you updated on what's coming your way as far as upcoming new movies, remakes, sequels, and TV and movie DVD releases, as well as our interview segment with a guest from the movie, TV, or music industry. This week on Screen and Beyond, we hitch up the horses and head over to the Little House on the Prairie to chat with our guest, Nellie Oleson. That's right. Alison Arngrim is going to be joining us, and she played the role of Nellie on Little House, and she became a fan favorite who you love to hate. Alison has a lot to talk about, and she's coming up in just a few minutes right here on Screen and Beyond, so stick around. And I want to remind you, last week we had Joyce DeWitt, who was Janet on Three's Company on the show, and if you missed it, be sure to check it out, okay? She was a great guest, had a lot of fun with her. And the show was audio only, okay, because she couldn't do the video part. But, unlike this one, which is audio and video, obviously, if you're on video, you're watching me right now. But you can check out the video version of this show. If you are listening for the audio right now, you can check us out. The video versions are on Spotify and on YouTube. All right, so be sure to check those out. And of course, if you are listening on any of the podcast providers, be sure to subscribe no matter where you're coming from, whether it's Apple Podcast, Amazon, if you're telling Alexa to play On Screen and Beyond podcast, Podbean, anywhere you're doing it, or on Spotify with the audio version or the video version, or on YouTube with the video version also. So be sure to subscribe to wherever they are, so that way you get the episodes when they come out, okay? Generally, we are a Sunday show that we come out with the new episodes, but we have to juggle things every once in a while depending on the schedule of our guests and everything. So be sure to turn around and subscribe. That way you can always hear or see the episode. And be sure to check out all the past guests we've had, all the episodes we have hundreds of celebrity guests who we've had here in the past, and you can check them out on Spotify or any of the other podcast providers. And that's over the last 18 years. We've had some great guests, so be sure to check it out. And if you have a suggestion for a guest or you have a question, just you want to ask me something, you can email me at feedback@onscreenandbeyond.com, and love hearing from you. Really enjoy that. Well, it is time for remakes, sequels, and prequels right here on Screen and Beyond.
Please hang up and try again.
Remake, sequels, and prequels. Well, Ben Affleck returns for Accountant 2. That's going to be in theaters on April 25th, along with John Bernthal. And on June 13th, the live-action version of How to Train Your Dragon flies into theaters. So get ready for that. And dinosaurs are going to be stomping into theaters once again with Jurassic World Rebirth on July 2nd. And on May 23rd, Tom Cruise is going to be swinging into action once again for another Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. And the Little Blue People are going to be returning with John Goodman as Papa Smurf in Smurfs in theaters on July 18th. And that's it for remakes, sequels, and prequels. Coming up next on Screen and Beyond, upcoming new movies. Upcoming new movies. It looks like Kevin James stars in a new action comedy called Guns Up. Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien, Chris Pang, and Dennis Haysbert will try to survive in the horror thriller called Send Help from Sam Raimi. And it looks like Liam Neeson stars in The Mongoose with Marissa Tomei and Michael Chiklis as a war hero is accused of a crime and is chased across country in a televised car chase. And that is it for upcoming new movies. Next on Screen and Beyond, it's movies and TV on DVD and streaming. Movies and TV on DVD and streaming. It looks like Frasier hits DVD with Kelsey Grammer on March 11th. April 1st, Mufasa, The Lion King, strides onto DVD and 4K. And Landman, Season 1, bubbles up on DVD with Billy Bob Thornton on May 13th. And on May 27th, you can get Yellowstone, Season 5, Part 2 on DVD. And The Brutalist with Adrian Brody gets a Blu-ray and 4K release on March 25th. And that's it for movies and TV on DVD and streaming. Coming up next on Screen and Beyond, it's TV and entertainment time. TV and entertainment time. Well, Peter Dinklage, he's been in the news an awful lot lately, and he is now joining the cast of Dexter Resurrection as a villainous billionaire. Max is looking to do a spin-off of The Big Bang Theory with some of the secondary fan favorite characters on the original show. This is not greenlit yet, so we're not sure if it'll happen, but you could see the return of Barry, Stuart, Bert, and Denise. We'll see what happens. And the Harry Potter TV series is looking to premiere on HBO in 2026. That's it for TV and entertainment time. Coming up next, get ready. Nellie Oleson is coming up here on Screen and Beyond from Little House on the Prairie. Alison Arngrim is next, right here on Screen and Beyond.
This is John O'Hurley. You remember me as Jay Peterman, and I'm on Screen and Beyond.
Today on Screen and Beyond, I am so excited to have as our guest, returning guest, I should say. She was on 16 years ago when she first joined us. And that was on episode 88 of On Screen and Beyond. And here we are in the 700s. She guest starred on The Love Boat, Fantasy Island, and so much more. And she has done stand-up comedy, written books, has a one-woman show she performs worldwide, and she played the character of Nellie Oleson on Little House on the Prairie,
Indeed.
which everybody loved to hate. It's Alison Arngrim. Alison, welcome to On Screen and Beyond.
Thank you. Wow. I'm like 16 years ago. Do I remember 16 years ago? What day is it? Yes. Oh, wow. That's hilarious. Okay. Glad to be back.
Yeah. Nice. It's so
Long
nice to
time
have
no
you.
see.
Yeah. It's
so
just,
much has happened.
well, that's why I wanted to have you on again. 16 years is too long. I shouldn't have waited so long.
Right? Jeez.
Yeah. But now, of course, last year was the 50th anniversary of Little House on the Prairie. Can you believe?
Was it ever? Was it ever?
And you're only in your 20s. I mean,
I was apparently an infant on the show. One of the greatest compliments I ever had was I was in a store and the woman recognized me in line and was like, "Oh, you did that Little House on the Prairie." And the cashier is staring at me, looks me up and down, and go, "Who the heck you play, baby Carrie?" And I was like, "Thank you." Because she's like, "You can't be old enough to open a." It's amazing. It's been 50 years. And last year we had events literally, well, all over the world, actually, because we went to the Monte Carlo TV Fest. We were all over the country and there were back to back Little House on the Prairie fan events with the whole cast, just like here, we were here, we were here. We covered the nation. It was nonstop. It was actually kind of exhausting. And by like September, we're like, okay, I think we're done. We're done, man. And so this year we said, okay, we're going to do events because there's still stuff going on, but like, we're not going to do that many. And we're gonna pace ourselves. So we're trying to put together some Little House events as I speak, but spread them out. But then I have the stand-up show, Confessions of a Prairie Bitch, that my book comes from, and that hasn't stopped. And I have multiple dates I just booked everywhere from San Diego to Chicago to New York to Nashville, and that's just there's no end in sight for that.
Yeah, and now I understand that you're also going to be in France or Paris. So I don't know if it's Paris
Indeed.
you're actually in.
Oui, exactement. Oui. I will be gosh, next week, flying out to Paris. I have to get there a little early because I'm going to be on a talk show. And I have 9 shows booked. I do a show in France. I've been doing a show in France actually for a while. This is the whole crazy thing. I started doing my stand-up show, which became a one-woman show, Confessions of Prairie Bitch, and then that turned into a book, and then this show expanded. And then I went to France, and Patrick Loubatière said, I think I could write something where we kind of do a show in French. And that's escalated. And it's now been 3 different shows. So now we're doing a show, Nellie Oleson en flamme, les années 80, which is Nellie Oleson sets fire to the 80s. And I land in
Good thing
Paris
you
next
said it
week.
because I didn't know what you said.
Yeah, exactly. Les enfants. Yes, Nellie Oleson en flamme, les années 80. And let's see, wait, how many shows? Because hi, are you in France right now? Oui, vous êtes en France? Bien. OK, le premier spectacle, 28 février. 28, vendredi 28, Porte Vendre. It's in the Pyrenees. The Pyrenees, we're out there. Le prochain jour, samedi, Corom. We're going Saint-Mad, Brouet, Legon, Mentou-Salon, Malois, I don't even know this place. I don't know where this is. Oh, okay. Saône-et-Loire. Oh, yes, that's way out there. Yeah, I got 9 shows for the 28th. It's everywhere. What you do is you go to the website Alison-Arngrim.com, and you will see all the dates for the tour Nellie Oleson en flamme, les années 80. But I will be all over France starting next week. But then I do come back, and then I'm all over America. I will be doing my American show, Confessions, in Atlanta, New York, Nashville, Louisville, Chicago, Provincetown, and San Diego.
Wow.
And you can look those dates up at the easier to find Spin Cycle NYC under Alison Arngrim. And then on my Facebook page and like everywhere, it'd be everywhere. But yeah. I've got what have I got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have multiple shows. Or 8. No, I have 9 shows in America, 9 shows in France, and it's only February.
Wow. I mean, you are like the Energizer Bunny here, just running and running into all these places. That's incredible.
I'm gonna be so tired. It won't be as bad. Last year, and this is pacing myself. This is where I said, yeah, that's too many. No, don't do that one. And it's too many back to back. No. And in between all these shows, we will be having Prairie events because the cast is getting together and saying, okay, well, where can we go that will be nice and not too strenuous, but fun for everybody. So there'll be 4 or 5 of those before probably mostly in spring and summer.
You must love seeing the fans, though. I mean, you must enjoy it.
I do. It's the idea that 50 years after we did this show, people are still this excited about it. Did you hear about that thing? They did a statistic because of the streaming. They worked out how many seconds. I mean, it was like so many man hours of the household streaming things. It was so many million seconds of viewing of Little House. It comes out to like over 20,000 years in man hours of people watching Little House on the Prairie. I don't know how many people that was divided among. But people are nonstop watching Little House on the Prairie 50 years later. And when we have an event and there's cast members there and we're signing autographs and having panel discussions, they're just lined up. They're just lined up around the block. They just pack the joint. And my shows, they come from all over, and everybody's so happy to see us. And I have friends from other shows from 50 years ago, and they go, yeah, we have some events, not like you guys. Oh, yeah, we had a nice turnout. We had an event in Simi Valley, and that's, where we originally did all the outdoor scenes, Simi Valley. Mm-hmm. We had an event in Simi Valley in March. It was a 3-day thing, and we knew, well, after we sold 9,000 tickets, we were like, okay, this might be out of control. And we hadn't even done any television or advertising yet. It had only been internet. And so then we all go on TV. We go on like Good Morning America. 18,000 people over 3 days.
Wow.
But 18,000 people showed up. 18,000. Do you know how many 18,000 people is? Do you know? Insane. And that's the kind of level of fandom we're experiencing. We're more popular now than when we were on.
Well, I was going to ask you that, how was it this crazy back then?
Well, I mean, I went to events where we had a goodly turnout way back in the day. We'd have events, but things happen. I mean, over the years, there's various niches. People start deciding what they like, and they go, I'm going to watch this show. I don't care what's on. I'm going to go watch this old show. there's this absolute screaming need for things like Little House on the Prairie. Everybody I talk to, everyone we've even had, like, we have a podcast, me and Dean Butler, our Al Manzo. We have a podcast with Pamela Bob of New York talking about all things Little House and interview people. When we interview actors who are on the show, they say this. Todd Bridges just said it the other day. Everyone talked to, there isn't anything on TV right now really like what we got with Little House, where the family's together, where they face every kind of problem imaginable, and they deal with it as a family, and there's no Paul Ingalls. There's just nothing like that.
Mhm.
And people are screaming for it. They want that. They want that so bad. And to the point that some people just said, heck with it, I'm just going to go watch Little House instead. There's something about it. Little House is always there when times are hard. If you remember, Laura Ingalls put those books out at the height of the Great Depression. It was the 1930s. The books came out.
Wow.
People were starving. It was things were terrible. In fact, the publishing industry, the book business was having a terrible time. And abracadabra, these books come out and are like the biggest hit ever, and saves the publishing industry, saves HarperCollins, saves everybody. And everybody starts reading these books. When did the show come out? 1974. What was happening in 1974? Oh, that would be the recession. Where, what did we have? Whip inflation now. We were getting our gas ration. I know I could only get gas every other day. You could hardly buy a hamburger at the supermarket. It was insane. It was rough. People, and older people like my parents are going, oh, we did this. It was called the Depression when we did this before. Things were rough in the early 70s. They just were. And abracadabra, what appears on your TV but Little House on the Prairie, which was a hit in the Depression. And there are the Ingalls, and there's Pa saying, oh no, 2 cents for a slate pencil. How will we manage? And everybody's cracking up because inflation. And here we are, and now they're going to Netflix is doing a show. The Friendly company, Trip Friendly, and the people who have the rights to the show from the old days, they and Netflix and Anonymous Content struck a deal, and apparently we're going to have a new Little House on the Prairie series. I mean, it's not going to be like, all right, it's going to be a whole other thing, not like a reboot. It's going to like probably go all the way back to like the books in the beginning. But we're going to have Little House on the Prairie again now. And our show took off in reruns during the pandemic in 2020. Everybody went, well, let's all learn how to bake bread. Let's all go watch Caroline. And then they found out, oh my God, they have an episode called Plague, and we have an episode called Quarantine.
Yeah. And it's funny that you mentioned that, is that my wife and I, we watch a lot of TV at night, and we just finished watching a series, and I'm not saying anything bad about the series we have now, but when it finished, we said, it was a great show. It was really like that. But what are we going to watch next? And let's not watch something with explosions and killings and all this other stuff. We need something that doesn't bring you to all that stuff. I mean, like I say, I enjoyed the shows.
I love all the FBI shows. Oh, FBI, the International, and FBI, this and FBI. Oh, I'll watch those. But then, hey, I'll watch those, murder Netflix documentary things. Yep. But sometimes I want to watch a show where nobody kills anybody.
Exactly. Yeah. Something that
maybe things are going to be okay. And Little House, I mean, we handled rough stuff. Remember, we had that poor soldier who came back from the Civil War, and he was on morphine, and we had racism and sexism and child abuse and alcohol. You name it, we did it on the Prairie. But something about seeing the Ingalls handle it, and Pa Ingalls, Charles is going to step in and say, okay, let's have some order here. And he's going to straighten this out. And you can go to Ma and cry about it. It's somehow okay. We had that. And that's a valuable thing. People want that.
Yes, definitely. Yep. It's just, there was something about that show that, it made you feel good.
Boom. And obviously, I'd love to say, and it was the acting. But yes, people say over to get the casting, and that was very much, we had Susan McCrae and all these people, and Kent McCrae, people involved in Kent, but Michael was there. And Michael was the king. Michael Anna was the king of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, he was famous for okay, cut and print, and we're done. Next scene. It was like, wait, what? We're not going to do that again? No, it's fine. I like it. He was like, let's go, chop, chop. But when he cast people, the number of people who have the experience. I mean, it happened to me where we're hired on the spot. I mean, it was by the time we got home in the car that the agent was on the phone. Well, they've already called and they've made the deal. You're doing it. The people who were told at the audition, well, that's it, you're hired. And someone else in the room had to turn to Michael and go, no, we have to go ask the network first. You can't just hire them. Write this. Yeah, you're probably hired, but give us a day or two. But people were like that. People were hired on the spot. Wow. And once he would audition people, and if he saw something that was for that kid, he'd go, I want that one. I want that one. He would just I know
knew.
what I want. And Melissa Gilbert's audition, I mean, yes, she did a screen test, but her famous audition story, I mean, they saw everybody. Do you know how many little girls they saw for Laura? And thousands. I read for the part of Laura, like, get out of here. Everybody read for Melissa Gilbert had gone through the whole thing of the audition, answered all the questions. Of course, she's cute as a bug. She's like this big. He would do this thing, because Michael, he would ask like a random question, because, a lot of child actors, they got the stage mother telling them, say this, do that. So they're very, yes, sir, proper. They're not themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he would ask a random off the wall question. So the kids would go, wait, what? And he'd get their real personality. And he stops Melissa and goes, wait. And she's like leaving the room. He's like, what? And he goes, how tall are you? Just threw her completely. Well, when you're a little kid, how do you know how tall you are? Well, your mother measures you against the doorway with the ruler, right?
Right.
So she goes, I'm this tall. Of course, he's dying of laughter. They all crack up, and he's like, yeah, it was over. And that's what he did with everyone. They did something in the audition. And then that was crazy because a lot of people said, does he direct you much around? I'm not seeing. Not unless absolutely necessary. He would pick people that he knew could be that character under any circumstance. So you'd fling the script at you and it's kind of like, go. And since you knew your character, we could have improv the show. He gave us the script, so no matter what was happening, well, you knew what you were going to do. And sometimes he'd say, well, let's try one out for blocking. And you'd come in and you go, oh, no, it's taking you too long to get over there. Why didn't you come around this way? No, that's a little much. I think we should, but very minor. And sometimes he would say, let's try one. And you do a take and he'd go, great. Now let's get it from this angle. And people go, what? Sometimes actors go, was that okay? And he'd look at them like they were crazy. He'd go, well, yes, of course it's okay. I said it was okay. So like waiting for this big conversation. He's like, what? No, we're done. He saw something in you that he knew you could do practically without trying. And he wanted that. He wanted that thing that you did. And you see what happened. Look at the performance. The people played my parents, Richard Bull and Catherine McGregor, the Olsons, Nels and Harriet together. Oh my! How brilliant and perfect are those two together?
Yeah. I mean, she was sort of like an older you in the show, on the show, like Nellie. Not you, I should say, but Nellie.
Right.
And the father was, the sort of, okay, yeah, all right, anything, whatever.
Trying to be the voice of reason,
Yes.
trying.
It was just perfect.
The chemistry, and that happened all over the place. You see them together. You see, like, there was just a scene the other day I was watching. It was just Mr. Hanson from the Mill and Doc Baker talking, and they were joking around. And you just go, I believe these two men have known each other for years and are friends and give each other a hard time and make fun. You believe it was the chemistry between all the actors. You believe that this was all happening. And that's why our show, I think that's why it worked. And people just were pulled in.
And you were so good at what you did. No, and I don't mean that in a bad way. but but you're the way you did that character, and and like I said, everybody loved to hate you, but they loved you.
It's so weird. I mean, I still have people now. I have coming up and just they're still mad 50 years later. I had a woman a few years ago come into an autograph show, and she just walked right up to the table. She was furious, and she just walks up to the table, looks at me and says, I forgive you, and walks out.
Her therapist must have told her to do that.
Yes, she did. closure with this woman. And no autograph, no hello, no good morning, just I forgive you. And she leaves. I'm like,
Wow.
wow, okay, she got that off her chest. It's people really got mad at me, and there's people still hating me years later. And I laugh because what can I say? But how much of a compliment to my performance was that? I did something right. Clearly, I was doing
Mhm.
something right. If people hated me that much for me just saying things on TV, if 50 years later, people are like, that made me so mad. 50 years later,
Yeah.
well, what am I to say? But I guess I must have been pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, it shows that, you did a great job acting. I mean, because, I mean, you're a
Acting.
nice person. You're very nice.
Most of the time, I tried.
But to
It's
be able
great
to
say.
do that, and I see that, there's some actors, and I'm not saying that's bad, but they play the same roles and they do the same
And
thing, and that's what they do. But
it's them. And if they some people they've got a real quirk. They got a handle on that. They're kind of the same
right,
person. They're them all the time. But it's engaging, and you kind of believe that that person is really doing these things. And you go, well, that's a trick. Okay, that's pretty cool. But yeah, you don't. They're not gonna. They're not Alec Guinness. They're not going to disappear into the
right.
character. But um, but then yeah. But then there's people who just like where'd they go. And I don't know. I guess I like that. I like the where'd they go. I like to just go. It was acting. They told me I could be somebody else. I said I could be somebody else. So yeah, I liked it.
Hi, this is Bernie Coppell. I'm on Screen and Beyond. This is Chaos. Wir don't shoot here.
When you were a young kid, were you an introvert or an extrovert, even back then?
Oh, I think I'm sort of quasi extrovert, and that's very weird. I was painfully, painfully, pathologically shy. Like
That's
nowadays, I mean, they probably would have sent me to the school counselor, give me medication or something that I said, are you okay? Back then, they were just like, oh, suck it up. But I really was shy and I was bullied and it was kind of awful. I did finally what happened is I read a lot and I read about various famous people who were very shy when they were young and overcame it and how they did that. I read about famous actresses. For instance, my favorite one, of course, Bette Midler. Now, we don't think of the performer Bette Midler as being shy,
right.
right?
Yeah, that's for sure.
Her show, everything is that's not a shy person. Apparently, so shy she could hardly speak to people when she was young. It was brutal, like through
Wow.
school. And at some point she went, well, I better come up with something here. And I thought, well, my God, Bette Midler's not shy. And there were several actors I've read. I said, that's amazing. These people were shy. So I thought, all right, well, I guess there's a trick to this. And I literally said, I'm going to do, because people were talking about the fact I was shy. It was terrible. When you're shy, and then they talk about you're shy, and then you're embarrassed, and then it's like worse. Um, so at one point, as a very young person, 12, 13 years old, I said, I'm going to have to figure this out. I'm going to have to either become not shy or find a way to conceal it or fake it somehow. And I literally set about a campaign to learn how to be not shy.
Hmm.
And apparently I did it. Because I'm 60, God, I'm 63 now. I'm 63 now. And when I tell people I was very shy, people go, they laugh at me. They go, you're not shy. I go, no, I'm really shy. It's terrible. I'm terribly shy. It's just awful. And everyone laughs in my face because I have done a very good job of being able to overcome that. But essentially, yeah, I technically still have shyness. There are situations where I go, oh, it's going to be a tough one. I have to go speak to people. But something about it's Little House, our fans are so nice. Yeah, even if I was horribly shy, I could talk to these people. They
Mhm.
come up to the tables and that they are so nice. It's like, well, I guess it's okay.
Now, your mom was an actress. She
Mhm.
she was the voice of Gumby,
She was Gumby, and can you see I have some Caspers and things like that. My mother
Casper.
was I've got Gumby and Casper all over the house. She was Gumby. She was Casper the Friendly Ghost, and okay, well she's Gumby, so she's also Gumby's mom, Gumby's sister, and remember that Prickle and Goo? She was Goo, the girl, and then she was Sweet Polly Purebred, Underdog's girlfriend,
Underdog,
and
yes.
then Davy and Goliath. She was Davy, and of course by extension, Davy's mom, Davy's sister, all of Davy's friends. There, in the old days in cartoons, they'd have two people. So my mother's, Davy, and Davy's mom and Davy's sister and all of Davy's friends.
Yeah.
And there's a guy who's Davy's dad and the preacher and the fireman and the policeman and that's it. And that's it. It's just the two of them. There's a Casper album that came out in the early 60s. You can get it online. You can download it or buy this. Get it. The Casper album is this musical extravaganza with all the characters from Casper. There's Nightmare the Horse and Wendy the Witch and Spooky and the Ghostly Trio. They're all on it. And it's a musical and they're singing and it's really weird. And it is literally two people in the studio.
Wow.
It's just my mother and a guy. And they're a cast of thousands.
Yeah. Now, did that influence you to become an actor?
The whole family were. My parents met in the theater. My parents literally met in the theater. That's what they meant. They ran the Totem Theater in
Your father
Canada,
was a manager too of Liberace.
Yeah, he became a manager.
Right?
He had been an actor. He'd been on Broadway, and then he came to LA. And when we all came, he went to manage Liberace, Debbie Reynolds, Susan Anton. My God, he worked for everybody at one point. Wow. And then he managed me, but he was managing those people. I mean, a lot of people that have a kid actor and they go, I'm the man. No, he's managing everybody before that. But it was amazing, and everyone we knew was in show. I mean, even my aunt sang. She was a concert soprano, and my uncle played the violin. And everybody did something. Everybody was in show business.
Talented
so
family.
I kind of thought it was a normal job, and I thought, well, yeah, that looks good. And it was just so crazy. So my Screen Actors Guild card is from when I was 5. It says member since 1967.
Wow, that is crazy.
So I've been on the job. Let's see. I'm 63. God, I guess that's 58 years. I've been working for 58 years. Yeah.
Wow. Now you say you were shy, but now you're doing stand up.
Which is like the worst idea. If you're
I mean, you wouldn't think, the two things.
That's wrong. And I've talked to how many I've been doing stand up since I was a teenager. Like when I was at my most shy and awkward. And all the stand-ups I talked to, like, oh yeah, I'm shy. They all came from like shy backgrounds. It was like, you think it's going to be the class clown, the extrovert. Some of them, but most of them people like painfully shy. Yeah, and it was one of the things on my list of let's do this. That'll fix it, of overcoming shyness. Go out and do public speaking and stand-up. And I've done it for eons now since I was a teenager, and in like 2002-ish, I started doing a whole one-woman show of all true stories, all about my life and all the celebrities I've met and all the crazy ex-child star stories I have, and meeting Liberace as a child. And it became this extravagant. People really liked it. I included audience question and answer segment. It's just so much fun. And it was so much fun that a literary agent came to see it and said, there wouldn't be a book to go with this show, would there? And hence I wrote a book, and that's why we have Confessions of a Prairie Bitch, How I Survived Being Nellie Oleson and Learned to Love Being Hated. And they're still reading it, and that became a success. So yeah, it's everything sort of feeds off of everything else. It's just mad.
Huh. Now, was it tough for writing, that book and looking back at what went on, on the show and everything? Hard to remember.
Oh God, hard to remember. My brain is so flooded with memories. I mean, that's the thing. You'll say, God, your memory. I remember the damnedest things. I remember what I was wearing and what I had for lunch, but I can remember it now. Don't ask me where I parked the car or where I put my house keys.
Sounds like me.
That's like, yeah, not quite sure. I love that we now have the beepy things in our cars because I can go in the parking lot and go, beep, beep. There it is. Terrible. Yeah, I have all the usual things that nobody can remember, but yes, I can remember. Oh, yes. And when I got the part, and it was a Thursday, and it was like, yes, because I remember because I came home from school and craziness. So yeah, I was able to. And being in Little House was such an intense experience. And we're talking to more and more people who've been on the show because of the podcasting, and they're all saying the same things. They're saying it was like the greatest experience of any show I was on. The intensity of it, of working with Michael and these people in this environment, realizing we were on this hit, was so intense. It's really hard to not remember things that happen on that show. It's like burned into your brain. So yeah, that part was easy. And it was tough because, my life, good things happen, bad things happen, life. And I wrote pretty straight up about absolutely everything. And there's happy parts and there's sad parts and there's funny parts. And I find a lot of things that were not funny at the time, they're funny now. So I just went, here you go. Editing is always hard. Then once that you get on the phone with the editor and they're like, well, you wrote the Encyclopedia Britannica and we're only publishing 300 pages. So you're going to need to get that together. And next thing you know, you're up all night going, how do I cut this, but put this back? And these 2 chapters need to be one. Wait, what? And that's brutal. That is brutal. And, oh, look, I have a cat.
Yeah,
Why
I was going to say,
here?
I see somebody
We
poking
have
around
talked
there.
about this. We have talked about your coming in during interview. Come here. If you're going to come here, then come here. Say hello.
Is that your evil cat that I hear so much about?
She's pretty bad. This is Miss Roswell. Miss Morticia doesn't like to be on camera for some reason. You almost never see Morticia. Yes, she's Morticia. But Roswell just loves attention. And she wants to be wherever I am. And sometimes I tell her no and I lock her in the bedroom. And other times she'll sit quietly and watch. But generally
pretty
not.
Cat. Very pretty.
She's gorgeous. She's very sweet, but she's very naughty. And but if she wants to just do this is fine. Just sometimes she wants to knock over the camera and the lighting and just create havoc. So we do have to watch her. But if you want to say hi, say hi. You say hi. You say hi. Look who's here. There you go. Oh, how pretty is this cat? How pretty is this cat?
I mean,
okay.
the big eyes. Oh, that's
go
pretty.
play. You
Now,
have thousands of toys. Go play.
With all the talk of the rebooting, reimaging, whatever they want to call it, would you or any of the other cast members that you've talked with be interested in being, in the show?
Oh, hell yeah. They're not going to use us, obviously. Right away, they're talking when Laura's practically a baby and her parents are in their 20s. So it's we're not. As it goes on, you start getting to Little Town on the Prairie and stuff. I guess there's 8 million parts. We could probably pop in and do something. I don't know. I always joke that, I'm old enough to play Mrs. Olsen now, and I'm up for that. I don't know. Yes, of course, it would be fabulous as once they're settled in and established and have their thing going, if they wanted to say, ooh, let's have a cameo. Yeah, I think I'm up for anything. I'm literally up for just about anything. So yeah, if they called and said, okay, we've decided that you suddenly show up in season 3 as the neighbor lady, blah, I'm going to go, okay. Yeah, what time? Yeah. I'm just sure. But I get it. It's a totally different thing because they're not doing the 70s. There's characters that were in our show that were made up for the show and they're not going to be there. So sorry, no, Albert, so there's it's going to be a whole other world. If in that world they think there's somebody I should be playing or somebody we've now had our first crossover because Melissa Gilbert just did a little thing on, the heart, When Calls the Heart. Calls the Heart, which is Michael Landon Jr. directs it. And so they got talking and went. And so Melissa's now on When Calls the Heart, I forget, a couple of episodes. It's a little arc thing. So that's kind of a whole Prairie, When Calls the Heart crossover. And we've had our first one. So who knows? Who knows where this will all go eventually?
Wow. Well, Alison, we're going to run out of time here. So I want to finish up with one final question. But all our listeners and viewers in France should get ready to see you traveling the country and doing all these shows. And then, of course, your tour here in the United States. Exactly. And get your book. You can still get the book, right?
Yes, you can. It's Amazon and finer online places near you. And I have a site. You can buy it for me. I got a store online. I don't care.
Oh, great.
My website is bonnetheads.com.
Oh, okay.
And the French website, AlisonArngrim.com. And you go there and it's the whole Alison Arngrim, le tournée en France avec le spectacle. Nellie Oleson en flamme, les années 80. 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 spectacles. Cette année, dans toute la région de France. So come see me.
Boy, you talk such nice French. You do it,
I managed.
I think it sounds
French.
perfect.
C'est moi et Patrick Loubartier, les deux ensemble sur le scène, totalement en français.
Okay, the final question.
Oui.
Like you say, taking us away from all of those things that you've done. But when you sit back and relax, what are your favorite TV shows now and of the past? And what's your favorite movies now and of the past? What do you enjoy?
Oh my God, I watch it. So, my husband and we tend to find TV go like it's all too stressful. I can't deal. So we watch a lot of old shows. We've been watching Have Gun Will Travel with Paladin.
Yes.
I kind of like it because it's a cowboy
Boom.
show, but he's from
Richard
San
Boone.
Francisco and he's very fancy. Here's my card. We watch crazy stuff like Hawaiian Eye and 77 Sunset Strip. That's like the ultras. We're like way into like
Yes.
that kind of crazy stuff. I do love the FBI shows. I love the new FBI and FBI International and all that hoo-ha. I think they're all very good, which is Sisto and the guy and Zaki, the one we share a birthday. He's great. The one. So there's all these fabulous new shows. I do like those. What is it? Oh, we watched Young Sheldon. We like that because we liked Big Bang. We liked Young Sheldon. So there's some great shows. We're getting another season of Stranger Things. That's happening. I can't keep track.
Yes.
Are they all 40
Yes.
now? The children are like 40
I
now.
know. It seems like it.
Yeah, I thought that was an awesome show. I like that. So I'll tune in for stuff like that. Tulsa. You got the show Tulsa with the gangster in Tulsa, Oklahoma, with
Yes.
Sylvester Stallone of all people running around Tulsa, Oklahoma as a mafioso. That's bonkers. I watch that.
Good show.
We watch movies, and again, we'll watch the old movies, Hate Turner classic movies. I'll absolutely into that. Although I do go to the movies. What did I like? Oh gosh, Inside Out 2. I that was yes. And yes. The Wizard of Oz reboot. Yes,
Wicked.
Wicked. That was fun. I mean, okay, you got to be like a diehard Wicked fan and a diehard like Wizard of Oz and really into musicals and really into Wicked and that whole thing and those characters. Or yeah, you probably would go, what am I watching? But if you like that, oh, it's awesome. It's singing and dancing. It's fun. So yeah, I do. I like a lot of the new stuff that's happening. And there are crazy things streaming and all kinds. There's shows that like you kind of like, I haven't even heard of this one. What is this one? I don't know. There's so much. There's like too much media. You can't possibly physically watch them all. So I try, but we do watch a lot of old stuff. And I like that. Like I said, I like seeing even, movies and TV shows that might be shocking or scary or make you think or be disturbing in a way. But, then afterwards, I'm probably going to go watch like 77 Sunset Strip to calm down.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I watch a lot of the old stuff. I'm rewatching, get this, Dark Shadows. That's,
Oh my God, love that. I was one of those children who is like, can we get home from school and take us like at 4? Like you just get, we can get home. We go to the Dark Shadows special. And there was one day where there was some very special episode, like the ending of Barnabas Collins finally dies or so. And people ditched. We like ditched school to stay home. Yeah, there was no VCR. We like ditched school. I'm sick because I have to stay home and watch Dark Shadows. And we were mad for Dark Shadows when I was at school. I love that show.
It's interesting watching it from the beginning because before Barnabas got on and all that stuff, I
was
didn't know.
Normal.
Yeah, it was. Well, I don't know. You had an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old that was killing his father, trying to kill his father. So it
started out as like this weird soap opera that was just going to be kind of gothic-y in the spooky house and weird. And then like it wasn't going anywhere, so they went, everyone's a vampire. And like, whoa, what is happening? And then it was great. It was like the best show. Dark Shadows was awesome.
Well, Alison, I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to share with us and keeping us informed on what you're doing. And 16 years, it's not going to happen again. We're going to get it sooner.
Yeah,
we want to get you back on.
A little sooner than 16 years. I mean, good heavenly days. But yeah, I'm just a working fool. And check my website, check my Facebook, check Bonneheads, check the French website. Because I'm probably near you. I am probably coming to some nightclub or somewhere near you, or what me and the Prairie gang will be descending upon your town, and you can come see us. So yes.
And thanks to Alison Arngrim for joining us here on Screen and Beyond and sharing her journey with us. And you should keep an eye out to see if she's going to be in your area and you could catch her stand-up act or any of the little house events that are going to be going on. So be sure to check those websites that she was talking about, and we'll see if we can connect with her. And if you're on, any of the podcast providers, YouTube, anything like that, be sure to subscribe to YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get it. And be sure to tell a friend. That helps us a lot because, telling your friends about On Screen and Beyond, and they can go back and listen to all the different people we've had, some of their favorites from TV, movie, and music stars, and as they share their stories and projects with us each week right here on Screen and Beyond. So be sure to check that out. And that's it. That's a wrap for this episode of On Screen and Beyond. So until next time, when we once again take you on screen and beyond, I'm Brian Zemrak. Take care.